Okay, so this is the second side of the, excuse me, just turn the page over, of the Year 9 week beginning 23rd of March 2020 paper. First side's in a different video, so this is the second side. Hopefully you've listened as I've gone through the first side. Similar to what I said in the first one, worth listening, worth checking your answers, worth seeing the things you're not sure about and listening to me go through it maybe once or twice just to try to build up some knowledge. Okay, simple interest. So we've got here both the simple and the compound interest. We've got 8,000 increased by 3% 5 years. Basically, if you've got 3% over 5 years for simple interest, you just do 3 times 5, so we're increasing by 15%. So all I'm going to do here is 8,000 times 1.15, because that is an increase of 15%. And I obviously grab my calculator, and I get £9,200. Trickier on the compound, well, not trickier, but different on the compound interest. 8,000 times a 3% interest for 5 years. And obviously all done on my calculator. I'm going to round this to 2 decimal places because that's money, isn't it? And this is a money question. So I'm going to put 0.19. Okay, second one. 8 3s are 24, so I'm going to do 750 times 1.24. This is all about increasing on this one. I haven't put any decreasing questions here on this side. And I've got £930. And 750 times 1.08, that's an 8% increase, 3 years. And that gives me £944.78. Again, rounding for money. If I'm increasing by the same amount, compound interest will always do more because we're increasing by more as we go through. So after the first year, you're finding 8% of a bigger amount, and then 8% of a bigger amount again. So these ones will always be a little bit bigger. Or if you go and decrease, a little bit smaller, because we've decreased by more. Okay, so 2.5 times 4 is 10, so 6,000 times 1.10, don't need the 0, but I'll put it there for completeness, is 6,600. I don't know why I use my calculator for that. 10% of 6,000 is obviously 600. And this one here, 6,000 times 1.025. Got to remember that 0, very easy to put 1.25 there, to the power 4. And I get 6622.8, and I am going to round this up because it's 87, look, so sorry, 877, so I'm going to round that up to 88 pence. Okay, so question 8 up the top here, simplify. Well, with the indices, you just got to remember, you basically just do, with the numbers, 9 times 2, nothing more than that. Here, you would do 15 divided by 3, 3 squared. So with the numbers bit, you just do what the numbers tell you to do, what you've always done. With indices, we need to remember our index laws. So in this case, we're going to add our indices. So we've got 18x to the 8, because we've times our numbers, added our indices. Divide our numbers here, and you take away your indices. So x to the power 4, take them away. 6 take away 2. And here, 3 squared is 9. And we're going to times our indices here, because we've got basically 8 to the power 7 times by another 8 to the power 7, which overall is 8 to the, x to the power 14. Sorry, I said 8, not x there, but hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Okay, we've got Sean selling some boxes of chocolates. Each box of chocolates, that's not very good. He buys, I think it should say, sorry, apologies for the error there. He buys each box of chocolates for £3.60 and sells them for £4.86. What is the percentage profit? Well, we said in class there's a few ways to go about this. You can either work out the difference to say it's overall gone up by £1.26 and divide it by the 360, but I'm going to go straight to do the new amount divided by the old amount, and I'm going to grab my calculator. 4.86 over 3.60, it's always that way around, old divided by new, and it gives me 1.35. Now if I want to, I can times that by 100 to tell me it's 135%. But hopefully you're comfortable with your multipliers to see that that means 35%. Okay, Inverse proportion. Well, inverse proportion, the trick with inverse proportional is the two numbers have always got times to make the same amount. So in this case, they're times to make 48. So any pair of numbers have also got to times to get 48. So we're going to start here with making our formula, which is just, we can basically say times the two things together and they're going to give us 48. Now that's not how our formula looks, but that is basically how we're starting with. Then we're going to do a bit of rearranging, divide both sides by x, and we end up with that. And that is our formula, which you're probably more familiar with, but I'm just saying it comes from this whole idea that the two numbers are always going to times to get 48. So because of that, if x is 12 and we know the two numbers are going to times to get 48, y must be 4. If y is 3 and the two numbers are going to times to get 48, and you might need your calculator for this one, but x is 16 because 16 times 3 is 48, 4 times 12 is 48, and 6 times 8 is 48. So all coming back to the fact that they times to get 48. Lastly, these two are both reverse percentage questions. How do I know that? Well, it says about last year, so I'm going backwards, worth originally. So these sort of things are the clues I'm looking for that telling me it's last year. So what I want to start by doing here is I want to say, okay, my salary rose by 7% is now this much. So that means this number here, 27820, is 107%. So we said there's a few ways to go about this. I'm going to do it in a two-step process. Some of you are comfortable in doing one step, just divide by 1.07, but I'm going to do it as a two-step process. Divide by 107, that's going to find me 1%, and then always the second time times by 100 to go up to 100%, because that's what I want. I want to find my 100%. So grab my calculator, 27820 divided by 107. Gives me 260, so I know 1% is 260. Now I'm not going to grab my calculator there, I'm just going to say 26,000 is my starting amount. You might want to double check that by going forwards, increase it by 7%, see if it works. I can tell you it's correct. And lastly, I bought a laptop in a 20% off sale. This is how much I paid for it. Now if I bought it in a 20% off sale, this means this number here is 80%. So I'm going to do the same sort of thing I did up here. Divide by 80 to get down to 1. Always break it down to 1 first and then go back up to 100. So crucially, I'm going to put this number, I'm going to divide it by 80. So 520 divided by 80, and it gives me 6.5. And times it by 100. And again, I don't need to tap that into my calculator. 650. Remember, if it's been reduced, I'm expecting my answer to be bigger because I'm saying what was it before the reduction, similar to the first bit here. Because my salary's gone up, my original salary is obviously going to be a little bit less. Hopefully that helped and clarified a few things. I'll do the other video and we'll be doing a lot of stuff like this, so really important you're starting to engage, watch them twice to really build knowledge of things you're not quite so sure about at the moment. Okay, thank you very much, bye.